Yes, we can hear you, Shivam. We are live now.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to all the educators joining us today. On behalf of Center, we are delighted to have you with us for another insightful session in our ongoing Center webinar series for teachers, a space where passionate educators come together to learn, reflect, and grow professionally. Your presence and participation continue to inspire us as we build a much more stronger, connected, and empowered teaching community. Now it is a pleasure to introduce the facilitator for today's session, Ms. Junu Thakur. Can we have her on screen, please? Yeah, hi. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Shivam. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. I hope you are doing all right.
Yes, all
So June Thakur ma'am is an accomplished academic leader with 15 years of experience in teaching, curriculum innovation, and school level academic governance. Currently serving as the vice principal academics, she has previously worked as a primary teacher and junior section coordinator, contributing significantly to experiential learning, classroom management, and teacher development. A center influencer and multi-time TPU badge holder, she has earned national recognition, including being a Tata Classes Classroom Champion, SHIP finalist, and a champion teacher for history experiential learning. Known for her expertise in English instructions, leadership training, and EdTech integration, she continues to inspire educators through impactful webinars and professional learning initiatives. So welcome, ma'am, again. Welcome once again, and it's over to you. It's your stage now.
Thank you so much, Shivam, for that introduction. And now I just start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking out time to be a part of this important webinar titled From Isolation to Collaboration. Just let me know, Shivam, the PPT is visible. So we are delighted to have such a dedicated audience gathered here, professionals who truly believe in growth, continuous learning, and collective success. So today's session is designed to help all of us, like all our educators, to rethink how we work, connect with each other, and support one another as educators. As we move forward, we will explore practical ways to shift from working in silos, that is isolation, to building strong collaborative cultures that empower both teachers and then our students, which is our priority. We hope this session inspires new ideas, strengthens teamwork, and encourages each one of us to embrace a more united approach in our schools and classrooms. Let's begin this meaningful journey together. Now, coming to PLCs, that is professional learning communities. A professional learning community represents a modern approach to continuous professional growth in education. Rather than functioning as isolated practitioners, we are not working in isolation, we are not working alone. Now we all are working as a team, as educators in a PLC. We all work collaboratively with a shared mission. And our mission is to improve student achievement and enhance our instructional practice. This collaboration is purposeful, rooted in reflection, inquiry based, and it is a shared responsibility. This is what PLC is all about, that we all are sharing ideas together, we all are reflecting in an action, and it is a shared responsibility. Moving to the next slide. So we see here PLCs are flexible and it keeps changing. We can change it as our requirement. It is flexible in structure and may exist within a single school or maybe across multiple campuses or even virtually. Their composition varies based on goals. Some PLCs focus on a specific grade level, such as we can have PLC for grade 3, grade 4, grade 6, grade 9. Others are subject specific, or maybe we are specializing on some subject. For example, a mathematics PLC, a physics PLC, a biology PLC, and some form around interdisciplinary themes such as literacy integration, inclusion, or inquiry-based learning. In certain schools, the PLC model is adopted school-wide, creating a culture where every teacher becomes a learner and every learner remains at the center of decision making. So you all can see, educators, that here we are actually upgrading every teacher who is working together with each other. So moving to the next slide now. So before we see, now meetings within a PLC are planned, but they are not rigid. We cannot keep a PLC to be very rigid. We can keep changing it as per the requirement, as the need may be in a school. They occur regularly, weekly, twice a month, or monthly to ensure, especially monthly we have when we are in an online PLC or across communities or across various campuses, to ensure consistency and momentum. While agendas help guide discussion, we should have a fixed agenda for a particular PLC. We should always be prepared. We should always be set on what is the agenda for this upcoming PLC. So PLCs function more as collaborate, conversations rather than formal training sessions. So one must keep in mind, and one must not get confused. So PLCs are not training sessions. We are not training each other. Rather, it's a platform where we are sharing ideas. We're learning from each other. There are no mandatory learning outcomes for individual members. Nothing is mandatory here. It just everything is voluntary. Instead, the emphasis on collective growth. Members reflect on classroom practices, on our own experiences. We analyze student data, share instructional strategies, examine assessment trends, and then discuss the challenges openly in a very supportive environment. I repeat again, we actually discuss the challenges that we face in a class openly in a supportive environment where we are ready to support each other. So a key characteristic of PLC is their dynamic, ongoing nature. PLC is something where we are involving and then we are evolving also. They are not one-time workshops, but rather sustained cycles of improvement. Goals evolve throughout the school year based on real-time needs, what we actually face in a class. For example, if student assessments reveal gaps in reading comprehension, the PLC may shift its focus to literacy strategies until improvement is observed. This cyclical structure positions a PLC as a living system, responsive, reflective, and continuously improving. So we need to focus on the 2 R's, responsive and being reflective. So ultimately, PLCs help cultivate a culture of collaboration instead of isolation, professional curiosity instead of compliance, and shared success instead of individual effort. When implemented effectively, PLCs strengthen teacher confidence. And this is what we need to have PLCs for, building the confidence of each and every teacher, enhance instructional quality, and ensure that every student benefits from the collective expertise of the entire teaching community, not just one educator. I'll come to the foundations of PLC right now. And now it's time for the poll question. So can we have the poll question here? The question is, how familiar are you with PLCs? Very familiar, A. B, somewhat familiar. C, heard the term. D is new to PLCs. We'll wait for the votes. I repeat, how familiar are you with PLCs? Very familiar, somewhat familiar, heard the term, and the last option is new to PLCs. Can we have the poll answers? What percentage? I can see most of them are saying D. Yeah, most of them are not familiar, right? A. Some are going with B, also somewhat familiar. So I can see the answers on the live channel here where most of them are saying D. That means new to PLCs. Many of the educators all around are very new to PLCs. Maybe it is not a continuous practice in most of the schools. And very few A I can see here. That means very familiar. B also, like Maria is saying B. We have Preeti, someone from saying B. And familiar with CPDs, I can have this answer. Okay, so I can go with that. The maximum is D, new to PLC. So this is what we want to make all the educators familiar with. The term professional learning communities, where all educators come together, share their ideas, talk about the challenges they face in the class, and come to a solution together. So now moving to foundations of professional learning. So when we are talking about foundation pillars of professional learning communities, the first thing that we should make sure is shared vision and collective purpose. All of us should have a shared vision, and the purpose should be collective, not of any one educator. A PLC begins with a unified mission. I would give the name as a unified. Unanimously, we come together to one mission. The belief that every student is capable of learning at higher levels and that teachers can work together to make that happen. Instead of focusing only on what is taught, the emphasis shifts to what students actually learn. So the basic agenda should be what students are actually learning in the class and where is that evidence of learning. The key question that becomes very important is that what do we want our students to learn and what will we do if they don't learn it or if they already have. So these questions should be in mind of each and every educator. What do we want our students to learn and what will we do if they don't learn it or if they already have. So this shared purpose ensures that everyone in the school, teachers, leaders, and support teams is moving in the same direction, guided by clarity and intention. The intention has to be the same. Secondly, we have the collaborative culture. Now, when we are talking about collaborative culture, now this culture, we have to build this culture in school. Now, and this culture can only be built when all the teachers want to come together, the educators want to come together, and then only this collaborative culture can be made. And this collaborative culture will not be possible even if a single educator or one teacher does not want to, be there and be a part of the discussion. So the collaborative culture is very important. Collaboration is at the heart of any successful PLC. Let me tell you, educators, no PLC is a success if there is no collaboration. Teachers no longer work alone behind closed doors. Instead, now we are planning, we are reflecting on the actions taken, and then problem solving together. We are solving the problem together. So, a collaborative culture is built on the first thing. I would like to ask questions. You can, put it on the chat box here. So, what is the foremost thing, and what is an important thing that is important for having a collaborative culture? What do you think? Can we have it on the live chat? You people are free to, just share your answers. What is that one thing that is very important to have a collaborative culture among all the educators? I'm just waiting for the answers here. I repeat, a collaborative culture is built on one thing. And what is that one thing that should be there to have a collaborative culture? Okay, I can see open-mindedness, very good. Education, trust, yes. I'm talking about to have a collaborative culture. What is more important is to have that trust and respect, a shared responsibility. Each and every educator should be there to take up that responsibility in bringing the change in the system, in bringing the learning is happening in the class. Open and supportive dialogue, like somebody has just said this, open mind. So obviously, open mind, that means open and some supportive dialogue. One should not be hesitant in sharing ideas or in accepting ideas also. So over time, collaboration becomes a part of the school identity, not an occasional meeting, but a consistent professional habit. So PLC should not be occasional meeting. Rather, it should be a consistent professional habit. Then we had, how do we focus on student learning? Right. So focus on student learning in a PLC instruction is driven by clear, meaningful expectations. So the third one, as we say, focus on student learning. This is a priority for each one of us. Teacher work together. All the teachers are working together to identify essential standards of that particular class. Define success criteria. What is the success criteria of that particular class? Develop learning plans and interventions. Where the teacher needs the intervention, what is the right place where the intervention has to happen? What is the right time? Where? When? The question shifts from did I teach it to did students learn? So the question in the mind of every educator should be instead of did I teach, it should be did students learn? So you must remember you're not teaching in the class. You should be what my students are learning. And how do we know that? What my students are learning. So this mindset ensures that teaching is intentional, responsive, and aligned across classrooms. Then, fourthly, we have data driven decision making. Now, when you're talking about data driven decision making, so the data that we use is not to judge the teachers or to take out the flaws of the teachers, but it is there to support them. I repeat, data driven, the data that we collect from a class, it is not to judge the teachers, but to support them. And what kind of data can be? We may have assessment results, student work samples, the class work, homework, and observation help teachers identify strengths, the gaps, and opportunities for improvement. So when we find gaps in learning, we need to find some opportunities for improvement. So regular data conversations allow team to adjust the instruction or to change our instructional strategies as per the requirement. Group students maybe share some strategies and monitor the progress in a meaningful way. The educators can observe each other's classes also. There is a lot to learn from each other. We are not taking out flaws, but rather we are supporting each other and we are observing what we can learn from each other. So data, just remember, it guides improvement, not evaluation. We are not here to evaluate through this data, but the data is helping us for improvement. That consistency has to be maintained. The fifth one is result orientation. Now, when we are talking about result orientation, here we mean PLCs are not just discussion groups. So we are not there just to discuss our action systems. They are actually, we are not just discussing on what happened, right? It's just not a casual discussion. Rather, they are action systems. Now, what do we mean by action systems? Where the focus is? The focus is on achieving measurable growth. Whether when obviously in a class we are ready with our plans, we have our measurable learning objectives, right? So what we need to observe is that are we achieving those measurable learning objectives? Are they being achieved? So is that happening? Is the growth happening? And then continuously refining the practice based on evidence. And what is the evidence? Student work, the assessment results. So success isn't defined by how many activities were completed or how many subjects or what assignments were completed or how much content was covered, but how much have our students learned. So this should be the success. So success isn't defined by how much we have covered or what course or syllabus has been covered, but how much students learn. And is that learning happening in the class? The mindset is we don't just try strategies, rather, we are examining whether they have worked or not. And even if they have not worked, so we should meet in a PLC and then decide on what are the other strategies. Maybe it has worked for one, maybe it has not worked for the other one. So here we'll definitely have someone, telling us this worked for me because the class is full of, this. And for the other, maybe it did not work or maybe it worked. So we keep getting ideas from each other. And another thing that is very important is that continuous professional growth. Now, when we are talking about continuous professional growth, we're also talking about collective responsibility and taking the accountability also. So in a PLC, the responsibility for learning, it extends beyond individual classrooms. Teachers adopt the belief these are students, not just my students. So that mindset has to be changed. We must say these are our students instead of saying these are just my students. So this fosters a supportive professional environment where feedback, reflection, and shared accountability are natural and welcomed. It creates a culture where everyone owns both challenges and the achievements. So we are not only to discuss the challenges, but yes, we'll be sharing the achievements also. And it is a shared responsibility, even the challenges and even the achievements. When you're talking about continuous professional growth as far as a teacher is concerned, so PLCs encourage ongoing learning, as I just said in the beginning. So it is involvement and the evolvement of a teacher. So PLCs encourage ongoing learning that is connected to everyday classroom practice. And how does it happen? So growth happens through shared inquiry, reflection, experimentation. We keep experimenting new ideas, and we just have to see whether those ideas are working or not. And not only through one-time workshop, it has to, the consistency has to be built. So educators in PLCs become reflective practitioners and they become confident learners, they become innovators, they become the leaders of change. They are ready to accept change, they are ready to take that change. So this commitment to growth ensures that both teaching and learning continues to evolve with the needs of the students. So teacher is also evolving with the needs of the students. That is why I said it is a continuous professional development for a teacher also. So moving to the next slide. Why PLCs? Why to have this PLC? Now we need to work on those 4 big PLC questions. So when we talk about the 4 big PLC questions, now these 4 questions guide the work of every professional learning community and help ensure that teaching remains focused, equitable, and responsive. They shift the mindset from simply delivering lessons to ensuring deep learning for all students. Now, the question can be, what do we expect students to learn? This question helps teachers clarify the most essential skill, concepts, and disposition students must learn, not everything in the textbook, but the core learning outcomes that truly matter. Teachers work together. Now, when they are working together, what are they doing together? They unpack the curriculum. When you're talking about unpack curriculum, the curriculum standards here means unlearn, you learn and then relearn. So we are unlearning few things, we are learning and then we are relearning. And it is a collaborative effort. Identify the priority outcomes. Define what proficiency looks like. So clarity at this stage ensures that instruction is aligned and consistent across classrooms and grade levels. And we must make sure that when we are having a PLC, whether it's a subject-wise PLC or it's a class-wise PLC, whether we have the vertical or the horizontal PLCs, we should see that whether the alignment is there according to the grade levels or not. The next question is, how will we know they learned it? How to know that? Now, once expectations are clear, we have set, teachers must decide how they will measure the learning, because learning has to be measurable. And how is it measurable? With evidence. Now, evidence, where does this evidence come from? The evidence may come from formative assessments. We have so many workshops, we have so many learnings happened about, and it is now every school and every class we are making use of formative assessments where we have to check the learning gaps, and then the teacher has to revisit the lesson if there is any learning gap. The exit tickets we have, performance tasks, student work samples we see through the worksheets, we see through the notebook, common assessments within the grade levels. So this step ensures we are not guessing. We are not guessing the work. It gives students and teacher a clear feedback about progress and the next step. So PLCs is all about what happened, what are we going to do, and what is our next step. The next question, what will we do if they haven't learned it? Now, this is very important. What will we do as educators if the students haven't learned it? Right. So learning doesn't happen at the same pace. We have every different type of learner in a class. And it does not happen at the same pace for every student. And a PLC, where the teachers and the educators meet, they prepare for that reality. The question focuses on timely intervention, when that intervention should happen by a teacher, the targeted support. The teachers will sit together and they will set the targets for the next week, maybe for a month. So the target has to be set in collaboration among the teachers, reteaching using different strategies. And where do we learn this? Where do we get it? Maybe we learn from some other of our colleagues. Extra learning time if needed. So the goal is to ensure no student falls through the cracks. Rather, so a PLC creates structures that respond quickly rather than waiting until the end of the term. That is why it's very important for all educators to meet consistently, timely, so that they take action, they discuss and work for the next step. And the next question is, what will we do if they already know it? Now, when the children already know it, then also we do not put a full stop. Now, what do we do? What is the next step? Just as some students struggle, so there are other students also who demonstrate mastery earlier. So in a PLC, we ensure that learning is not limited or capped. It's not limited to only the ones where the students are struggling. We have to keep in mind all kinds of students. So this question suppose maybe more enrichment opportunities, extension tasks. You may give some other tasks for those students who have completed a task earlier, higher order thinking challenges, student led projects, right? Because we know we are focusing on what? Something which is student oriented, not the teacher oriented. Personalized learning pathways. So all these strategies, it ensures every learner is challenged. We are not challenging one learner in the class. We are making sure that every learner is challenged, engaged, and growing, whether they need support or whether they need any kind of enrichment. So in short, we can say that PLC question, it helps us what do we expect students to learn. So that is giving us a clarity and focus. How will we know they learned it? It's based on the evidence and accountability. What will we do if they haven't learned it? The support and the intervention and the right time kind of support, right? And the intervention has to happen. The timely intervention should be there, not when it's become too late. What will we do if they already know it? Enrichment and continued growth. So these questions, which are the 4 questions, transform teaching from a routine into a purposeful, reflective, and responsive process that guarantees learning for every student. Moving to the next slide. benefits for educators and students. Now, here we are talking about benefits. We are not only talking about only for the teachers, but for the students as well. We have to keep, if a teacher is benefited, so obviously in turn the student also benefits. So 4 key benefits of a professional learning community. If we see, so here we see when you're talking about the 4 benefits of a PLCs. Now, professional learning communities strengthen both teaching and learning, right? So it's not only strengthening the teachers, but it's strengthening our students also in turn. They foster teamwork, build confidence, and create a culture where improvement becomes continuous and shared. So here are the 4 clear way PLCs positively impact schools. So PLCs create continuous job embedded growth for teachers, as I just said before. It's give teachers regular opportunities to improve, and that consistency is always built. Right. So PLCs provide educators with regular and meaningful opportunities to reflect on the practice, analyze student learning, and discuss instructional strategies. Instead of just waiting for workshops or for annual training or for meetings, teachers go week by week through collaboration. So, we are learning from each other. We don't have to wait for a workshop. We do not have to wait for a session, for anything. And here, when we have that opportunity to learn from each other, why not grab that opportunity? So you're learning from each other. And nothing should stop us from learning from each other because it always strengthens our capability. So in a PLC, teachers share student progress. And I see in my school also, when I see when PLCs happen, we see they are sharing the students' work, they show it to each other, they reflect on what is happening, they learn. And then the one teacher wants to follow the other. And it's a good practice. Identify what is working and what is not working also. So we co-plan, co-solve the instructional challenges. So this ongoing reflection builds ownership. We are taking that ownership of learning, right? And the same, the ownership for learning has to happen for the student also. The student also should take the ownership of learning. Purpose and confidence in classroom instruction decisions. So maybe in PLC, when we have discussed all these things, the next time the teacher enters the class, she's more confident. She knows what she has to do now. Secondly, PLCs strengthen relationships and build trust. As I asked you a question before, that PLCs is based on the trust. You need to trust. Without trust, nothing can work. So when teachers work towards a common goal, improving student learning, we all have a common goal. And what is that common goal? Student learning, not the teaching. Improving student learning, they develop a strong sense of teamwork and shared accountability, as I said. Over time, PLCs, foster mutual respect, encourage distributed leadership, where each and every one is giving the inputs and taking also. Build a supportive culture where members learn with and from one another. The teachers gain a deeper understanding of each other's strengths. We keep knowing, okay, this is a strength of this particular educator, and this is a strength. So we learn from each other's strengths, and collaboration becomes meaningful rather than a routine work. So this sense of community creates lasting professional connection and a camaraderie. Right. So another thing is there. So when we are learning from each other, so that trust, when that trust is there, so things become so good. And how it becomes good? Because we know where we stand and where can we stand now. Thirdly, PLCs expand professional knowledge and keep educators updated. Sometimes what happens, I may not be updated with something, but I get updated from somebody else. The teacher somebody else keeps us updated. Maybe in my subject I'm updated, maybe I'm not in the other subject. So when we give focus to interdisciplinary aspect of teaching, so this helps on keeping us updated in each other's subject also. And then we are connecting each other's subject because they are learning. We are building the connection from one subject to the other. And when a maths teacher is teaching maths, so she is giving real life examples, right? And the language use, what kind of examples are there? So they are building a connection, they are learning from each other. So PLCs are not limited to one school. They are a part of a wider learning network. through PLCs have this trend also. We have online PLCs also. Sometimes when you're not able to meet offline, we meet online. And through online PLCs also, there's so much to share and learn. Webinars, professional forums, and digital communication tools. Teachers continuously access emerging research, new strategies, and instructional technologies. So, this connection to a broader community means ideas are correct, practices remain relevant, innovation becomes normal and not optional. Teachers feel empowered, supported, and part of something larger than the individual classrooms. So, now it is a broader perspective. Fourthly, PLCs encourage reflection and transform teaching practices. How? Collaboration naturally leads to reflection. As teachers observe student learning outcomes and hear multiple perspectives, they begin to refine their instructional approaches. Because when everybody is there to share their ideas, to share their experiences, right? Whether it is, and it's not that every time it has to be the perfect one, it can be a challenging one also. We learn from our own challenges. So, PLC encourages educators to ask, what can I do differently? How can I make learning more meaningful? How can we improve together? Now, this is something which I really liked. How can we improve together? So, the improvement is happening together, right? So, this reflective mindset leads to more responsive teaching and richer learning experiences for our students. So, in a nutshell, we can say a PLC, that is a professional learning community, is not just a meeting, right? It's not just a meeting structure where we have a round table conference or something. So it is a culture shift, it is a shared leadership, a collective responsibility for student success. So PLCs allow schools to move from isolated practices to collaborative excellence, ensuring that every educator grows, and when every educator grows, every student thrives. Now it's time for the next question, the poll question. Before we move to the other slide, can we have the next poll question? The next question is, what is the biggest benefit of PLCs? Option A, better student learning. B, teacher collaboration. C, shared strategies. And the last option is professional growth. Can we have the poll question now? I repeat, the poll question is, what is the biggest benefit of PLCs? A, better student learning. B, teacher collaboration. C, shared strategies. And D is professional growth. There's no right or wrong answers here. All the four options are correct. It's just that what do you think is the biggest benefit of PLCs? Okay, most of you are saying C, that is shared strategies. Very good. I can see some have opted for A also. Better student learning. I agree with you. I just need to know the percentage. Some say D also, professional growth, right? Most of you are sharing the option A, that is better student learning, right? So we have 40% are saying share strategies, and then 16%, only a small percent says professional growth. So it's basically share strategies. Fine. So moving to the next slide, as I can see it on the screen now. How do we build effective PLCs? Now the question is how to build that effective PLCs. How to build effective professional learning communities. So for PLCs to truly thrive and make an impact, three essential conditions must be intentionally developed. And what are these three requirements? The culture that connects people, the structure that guides the work, and nurture that sustains growth. So the three things are culture, structure, and the nurture. So when we take each one of them, when these elements work together, culture, structure, and nurture. So when these elements work together in collaboration, it shifts from a task to a meaningful professional practice. Talking about culture, when you're talking about culture, we say, so what kind of culture? A supportive culture has to be there. A PLC is more than a meeting, as I said. And the foundation has to be built on trust and that psychological safety. We are not competing with each other. We are not here to find faults, as I said. We are not here to blame each other. Rather, we build a foundation of trust. So, PLC is more than a meeting, it is a professional community where every educator feels valued. Whatever an educator says should be valued and respected, and every educator should be heard. Every educator should have their own voice. Each educator should have the voice. That means you should be heard. If I'm saying something, I should be heard. The other one is saying something, the other one should be heard and respected at the same time. So strong PLCs are grounded in a culture of trust. They believe the members should believe in one another's intentions and professionalism. We have to be professional as well as we have to build that trust at the same time. Respect, because all experiences and perspectives should be welcomed. Openness should be there. Teachers should feel comfortable sharing the struggles also. We are not only here to share achievements and the wow moments. We should be comfortable in sharing the challenges faced in a class, the struggles that we face, and not just successes. So, in this environment, teachers can ask honest questions. You have to be honest with each other. The real time discussion should happen. Reflect openly on their practice. Provide and receive constructive feedback without fear. And even if we get a feedback from some other educator, it should be accepted also. It should not have that environment should not be created where we feel that we've been discouraged. No. We are here to encourage each other and to support, have each other's support. So when culture is strong, so the collaboration becomes authentic and improvement becomes collective. If that culture is not built, so the collaboration will not become authentic. The next thing is structure. Structure here means the system, the clear system that supports the purposeful work. Why are we here in a PLC? What kind of structure has to be there? So even the best intentions, sometimes we are here with an intention to meet, but that best intention will fail without a framework to support them. Effective PLCs are structured. It should be structured, well structured. What are we here for? What is the agenda? What is the agenda? That means what are we going to discuss? So, but it should not be very rigid also, because if we keep it rigid, then we'll not be able to collaborate or share ideas in ways that makes collaboration meaningful and productive. Strong structure includes, now what do you all need to have the strong structure? A well designed agenda, as I said, which should be well prepared in advance. Okay, we should all have that agenda set. The norms of the PLC should be there with each and every educator, right? The rules should be followed, agreements that guide communication, because we are here to communicate with each other. Roles such as there has to be one person as a facilitator, there has to be one person to facilitate that PLC. A person, the next person can be a timekeeper, and the other can be there to be as a recorder, you can say, documenting everything, right? So we need a facilitator, we need a timekeeper, so that we are not wasting or lingering on things, right? And a recorder to document, and that documentation is shared with everybody then. Consistent meeting cycles with clear learning focus. The learning focus has to be very clear. So these structural elements help the PLCs to stay focused on student learning, number one, organized and efficient, data informed rather than opinion driven. So another thing is very important is that it should be data informed rather than opinion driven. So structure ensures that PLC time leads to action. We are not here just to converse, and then leading to nothing. So the outcome is zero. So structure should ensure that PLC time leads to action, not just conversation. And the last part is nurture. When you're taking care of everything, right? Support that is needed to sustain that growth over time. If that nurturing is not there, that support is not there, that sustainability is not there. So PLCs to grow and flourish, they must be intentionally supported, not left to operate on their own. Nothing can happen if the no nurturing is there. So schools also nurture PLCs by providing how. Now see, dedicated meeting time protected from interruptions. There should not be any other interruption, and it should be dedicated and focused. It can be short, but it has to be focused. Rather, we have long PLCs and no focus is there. So again, the result is zero. The outcome is zero. Resources and tools such as student data platform, the protocols or instruction materials should be clear. Ongoing professional development aligned to PLC goals. Leadership encouragement should also be there, and recognition to keep the momentum strong. So there has to be someone to keep a check also whether everything is going smoothly. That encouragement should be constant and recognition to keep the momentum strong. So when educators feel supported, PLCs evolve from isolated initiatives into a sustainable culture of continuous improvement. So a thriving PLC does not happen by accident. It requires culture that connects people, structure that is guiding the work, and a nurture that sustains that growth. So when all these three conditions are present, PLCs become powerful, right? Strengthens collaboration and ensure that every student succeeds. So now moving to the next slide, where we talk about the 5 characteristics of a professional learning community. So the 5 essential characteristics of a PLC. So when we're talking about why PLCs may differ based on grade level, as I said in the beginning, subject groups or school context. Successful PLCs across the world share 5 core characteristics. The 5 core characteristics, and these elements ensure that the work is meaningful, intentional, and focused. And every time the focus is on student success. So when you're talking about a thriving PLC, it should be collaborative. Collaboration is the heart of every PLC, the heart. So it is a center of everything. These sessions are not evaluations. They are opportunities for educators to learn with and from one another. As I said, during collaborative conversation, teams may discuss, the members of each PLC team may discuss the lesson alignment to standards, the assessment practices that we're taking, or any changes should be there in the assessment practices, the kind of questions, the rubric, whether it is followed by every educator, the consistency is maintained or not. Student behavior patterns can also be discussed in the PLCs, communication and engagement strategies. So in every effective PLC, every voice is valued. As I said, members discuss openly and professionally. Leadership is also shared. It's not that only one person is there taking the ownership. No, everyone should have that. Leadership is shared. Teachers may take turns facilitating the conversations. It's not that we should have a fixed facilitator. This distributed kind of leadership builds ownership and helps create an environment where educators feel confident sharing challenges and celebrating successes. Secondly, PLCs are action oriented. So when you're talking about action oriented, what do you mean by action oriented? PLCs are not just discussion groups. They are groups that turn ideas into instructional action. So actually, whatever we are discussing should be executed also. It's not just the talking is happening, but the execution is also happening. So real talk should be there, and all those strategies should be discussed, which can actually be taken into action. So after meetings, teachers are encouraged, to try new strategies and then discuss in the next PLC whether that strategy worked or not. If not work, what should be the next step? Apply upon, agreed upon approaches. That okay, this is an approach and everybody should agree on that. Experiment with evidence-based practices. The evidence is a must. At the next meeting, team members bring back. What do they bring back? Reflections from the previous meetings, classroom observations, results showing what worked and what needs adjustments, where the changes can be made. So this creates natural, supportive accountability and reinforces that change happens through action and not intention. Thirdly, PLCs support continuous improvement. A PLC is committed and ongoing growth has to be there, both for the students as for the educators also. Team, they engage in a continuous improvement cycle that includes gathering evidence. We have to keep gathering. It is a weekly affair. And it's not that one day we sit and then we collect. No, it's every day's affair that we keep collecting data and then meet one day to reflect on that data, identifying strengths and needs, implementing targeted instruction strategies, reviewing the impact of those strategies, refining our approach, and beginning the next cycle. So, this is an ongoing loop. It keeps going on and on and on. There is no stop there, right? The cycle keeps on going. That teaching is intentionally responsive and continuously improving rather than static. Result driven, as I said, successful PLCs measure progress through results, not assumptions, opinions. So nothing will work through assumptions or opinions. Everything will work through results. So common formative assessment, the FAs, and in the end, when we have the summative assessments also, they're often used so as teachers can examine student progress. And when they are examining the student progress, what is happening? Collective progress we're talking about, and compare outcomes across the classroom, across the different days, across the different sections. So by analyzing shared data, teachers gain insight into the gaps, the gaps in understanding, the successful instruction strategies, areas needing reteaching or enrichment. So this result based approach ensures decisions are grounded in evidence, not a habit. PLCs maintain a strong focus. The last one, the last characteristic is that PLC maintain a strong focus on student learning. Every time in the beginning, you all must have observed we are only talking about student learning. So the main agenda and the main focus, the main emphasis of a PLC is that when a teacher is enriching herself with ideas, so the result is on the student learning. Above all, PLCs, they prioritize what matters most is the learning experience and the success of students. Conversations consistently connect back to student work. After all, the main thing is student work, instruction strategies, engagement, academic growth, equity, and access. Teachers share the best practices and successful methods to support one another in creating rich, meaningful learning opportunities. So, a PLC will only thrive and work when it is collaborative, as I said, action oriented. Secondly, thirdly, continuously improving, result driven, focused on student learning. And when all these characteristics are present, they become PLCs become the powerful drivers of school transformation, ensuring that teaching strengthens over time and students benefit from a collective commitment to excellence. So, why are PLCs powerful? Why are they powerful? PLCs are powerful because they transform the way educators think, plan, and work. Teaching is no longer an individual act. Let me tell you, all educators, it is no longer now an individual act, it is a shared mission. It's a mission that is shared, a unified mission. Education today is complex, as we all know. Classrooms are diverse, expectations are higher than ever, and is challenging nowadays. And learning needs are constantly evolving. No single teacher, regardless of skill, no matter how skilled she is or experienced she is, even an experienced teacher who may be working for 20, 23 years, but we keep learning every day from each other and hold every answer or strategy. This is where PLCs make a meaningful difference. PLCs provide a structured, intentional space where educators can share their expertise, real evidence of student learning, examine it, discuss the challenges, co-create responses and solution. And a solution is something where we have to come together to a solution, continuously refine our practices. So this collective wisdom is far more powerful than any individual effort. So it is not an individual effort, it is a collective wisdom. That is why I kept saying it reduces the isolation and builds the confidence. So traditionally, teachers work behind closed doors. Traditionally, now we are not following the traditional method. A PLC opens those doors. All the closed doors are open now. creating a supportive and professional space where collaboration replaces isolation. Teachers no longer feel they have to navigate challenges alone. We are here to navigate the challenges together. We have access to a team that listens, questions, and helps problem solve. This builds, it reduces stress also and increases professional satisfaction. The most important thing is reduces stress of an individual teacher and increases that professional satisfaction. So PLC accelerate professional growth. So when you're talking about professional growth, obviously we reflect on our practice, examine the student learning and experiment with new strategies. So obviously we are growing, and that growth is ongoing, not occasional. Instead of waiting, we are not waiting for anything. We are actually learning and applying those new ideas in the classrooms. So obviously PLCs turn professional development into a continuous process, evolving process. They strengthen the instructional leadership also. The leadership has to be shared, it has to be instructional. So, as teachers, as I said, we can take turns in facilitating the dialogue, analyzing the data, and the ownership can also change weekly, new strategies. So, every teacher becomes a contributor, and every teacher is active, not a passive receiver, and every teacher is a learner and a leader together. This shared leadership builds ownership and a sense of collective responsibility, not just those in one classroom. So most importantly, PLCs improve, as I said, student learning, and this can only happen when we all are growing together, so that students grow faster. When teachers work together, students win. So PLCs are powerful because they strengthen the collaboration, improve student outcomes, and they shift the school from being a collective of individual classrooms to a unified learning community committed to the success of every teacher and every student. So can we have the next poll question? Which area needs the most improvement for PLC success? It's time for the poll question now. Which area needs the most improvement for PLC success? A, time to meet, trust and culture. B, trust and culture, as I said. C, using data well. D is accountability. So, which area needs the most improvement for PLC success? A, time to meet. B, trust and culture. C, using data well. D is accountability. Some are saying A, time to meet. Okay, improvement for PLC success because we have to have that standard time set. Most of you are saying B, trust and culture. Okay. Which area needs the most improvement for PLC success? Okay. There's someone who's saying, maximum of you people are saying B, trust and culture. Okay, I agree with you all. And let's have the poll. Let's see which gets a maximum vote. Which area needs the most improvement for PLC success? The fourth one is, the C one is using data well, and the last one is accountability. We have got 75 votes. Okay, let's 79. Okay, 69% of people say trust and culture. Right. Now coming to the next slide, practice based problems with adaptive problem solving. So when we are here to solve problems, it has to be adaptive problem solving. Now what do you mean by adaptive problem solving? One of the most powerful aspects of PLC is the ability to focus on real problems that occur in real classrooms. Instead of discussing hypothetical scenarios or abstract theories, PLCs should examine authentic challenges that the teacher or an educator is actually facing in a class, such as gaps in literacy skills, inconsistent math conceptual understanding, or barriers to student engagement. Because we see students distracted in the class, how to cope with that distraction, how to engage each and every student where the strength of the class is a concern, or maybe the class has some students who are not able to, retain something for a very long time. They get distracted very easily. So all these should be the key areas of discussion. So these are called practice-based problems because they emerge directly from day-to-day teaching and learning experiences. So adaptive problem solving means that teams do not rely on a single fixed solution. Obviously, we cannot have a fixed solution to these problems. Instead, they should diagnose the root cause of the issue. And how can we diagnose the root cause? By sitting together, explore the multiple strategies and approaches, test the ideas in real classrooms and see whether it works or not. Adjust based on what adjustments can be based, on what works and what does not. So this approach recognizes that classrooms are dynamic environments and that strategies must be flexible. Evidence based and not just one size fits all. We should not have that concept in mind. Like one size fits all is a big no. So it shifts the mindset from who is at fault. We are not, as I said, we are not finding faults. So the question, the mindset has to shift from who is at fault to what can we learn and how can we improve. And whenever I am saying something, we are using the we. I use the word we. So what can we learn and how can we improve as an educator? Coming to the next slide, now we have a typical inquiry cycle includes. Now, here we are talking about continuous cycles of inquiry. So PLCs, they operate through a purposeful repeating sequence known as a cycle of inquiry. Now, this cycle ensures an improvement is systematic, ongoing, and data driven rather than reactive or just accidental. So, typical inquiry includes what? What does it include? Identify the problem first or a focus area. Teachers begin, how do they begin? How do they identify? By examining student work or assessment. What learners need the most. Example questions can be, what are students struggling with? Which standards are not yet mastered? Which strategies are showing success and which strategies are not showing any success? So this phase clarifies a target for improvement. Study and the plan. Next thing, the team explore. That means the teachers explore instructional strategies, the resources or interventions that may strengthen learning. They may review research or best practices, observe the colleagues, unpack the standards or success criteria, and a plan is developed together. So that plan has to be developed together. How can we take action? Teachers then apply the strategies in the classroom. Now you have to take the action also. The key mindset here is try, let's observe, and then let's make adjustments. So try, observe, and then make adjustments. So this phase is active, experimental, and collaborative. Then we analyze the evidence also. So after implementation of anything, the PLC gathers data to determine the impact. What was the impact? And the evidence may include the observations, the student work, as I said. So this goal is to understand what worked, for whom, and why it worked. And if it not worked, why it did not work. Right? Reflect and refine. Finally, the team reflects. Did the strategy improve learning? What needs to be modified? Continued? Should we continue it or should we leave it? Should we abandon that strategy? If needed, the cycle begins again with clearer insight, creating continuous improvements rather than one-time intervention. And you know why this matters? The approach matters here a lot because it ensures that change is intentional. Professional growth is ongoing, not event based. Instruction is adaptive, not static. Solutions are collaborative, not individual. So every person is responsible to give a solution and come to a conclusion. Students benefit from those strategies that are tested, responsive, and effective. So in we can say practice-based adaptive problem solving combined with continuous cycles of inquiry turns PLCs into engines of improvement where learning for teachers and learning for students continuously evolve. Now we have the last poll question. Can we have the last poll question here? What should be the primary goal of a PLC? A. Improve learning. B. Share strategies. C. Analyze data. D. Support teachers. What should be the primary goal of a PLC? Can we have the PLC, the poll questions now? The primary goal of a PLC as an educator, what do you feel? It should be A, improve learning. It should be B, share strategies. C is analyze the data and support teachers. There are some saying B, some saying A, also improve learning. What I, as an educator, believe that the primary goal of a PLC should be improve learning and identify the gaps in that learning. Let's have the poll questions and then let's see how many votes are there. Improve strategies, share strategies, analyze data. It's not showing the last option, support teachers also. There were 4 options. The 4th one is support teachers. They all are voting. Let's see how many have voted. We have 71 votes now. "78" of the educators have voted. Okay, let's see the percentage now. Okay, 65% of you are saying improve strategies. Okay, so complete of 80 votes where there's 65% of them are saying improve strategies and 0% say analyze data. So moving to the next slide. The promise and power of PLCs. So in a conclusion, I would like to say professional learning communities are more than a model. They represent a shift in mindset, culture, and practice. When done well, PLCs transform schools into environments where collaboration replaces isolation, learning replaces compliance, and shared responsibility replaces individual effort. So it fosters a culture where teachers work with one another rather than being beside one another. Let's work with each other. So this collaboration is anchored in evidence, not assumptions, and driven by a shared commitment to student success. So as educators engage in continuous cycles of inquiry, they refine practice, innovate with purpose, and respond more effectively to student needs. So through all these structured systems, supportive leadership, and intentional time for reflection, PLCs become engines of ongoing improvement. They all allow schools to respond to change, not to react to it. We have to respond. We don't have to give our reactions and ensure that teaching remains adaptive, responsive, and aligned with best practices and current research. We have to keep ourselves updated with the latest strategies. So when educators grow together, students thrive. By embracing PLC principles, collaboration, inquiry, shared leadership, data informed decision making, as a school, we unlock the full potential of both the educators and learners. The result is a professional community where excellence is not an expectation placed on individuals, but a collective achievement celebrated across the entire school. So, and another thing, when we are talking about PLCs and the difference with professional development, so one must keep in mind that professional development is generally a formal structural learning experience, often delivered through workshops. We attend workshops, seminars, right? Sessions. It focuses on individual teacher growth and commonly follows a universal approach where the same content is delivered to broad groups of teachers. So professional development is useful in introducing new skills, methodologies, or curriculum updates, but the application varies from teacher to teacher. In contrast, on the other hand, PLC, it is ongoing, it is collaborative, and it context-driven learning systems. So PLCs are empowering educators to work collectively, inquire, reflect. So much like a team sport, PLCs require shared responsibility. So the collective goal is not only teacher learning, but improve student outcomes. So there's a slight difference here. While PD provides foundational learning, PLCs help teachers internalize, apply, and refine their learning through collaboration. It goes together, but the difference should be understood. So both are valuable. The professional development equips the educators with new knowledge, and PLC sustain, personalize, and deepens the impact. Right? So we have to make sure the difference. So professional development builds knowledge, professional learning communities transform the practice. Together, they create meaningful and sustainable professional growth. So this was all from my side today. Thank you so much. I thank all the educators for being so patient and being there. I think the webinar code for the feedback is also given. Yes. Shivam, are you there?
Yeah, I am here. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope you found this session informative. At least I found that. So thank you again, ma'am, for a very engaging and informative session for our community of teachers. I'm sure that our teachers would have taken a lot of takeaways today from this session. So
I
yeah.
hope so.
Uh, and if you just one last thing for all the teachers who have joined today. So if you have registered and filled out a feedback form for this session, please check your participation record in the app in the My Learning section of the app, Center app. I will guide you through the instructions again for those maybe who have not done or who have any sort of confusion. So please, step one is just open the Center app on your device. Then maybe you can navigate onto the ongoing webinar section. There is a section onto the section in the app itself. You can click on the submit feedback button. Please note that this option will be available after 6 p.m. itself. So it should be available by now. At the end of the session, we have already shared a 3-digit code, which is for the feedback. And you can enter this code in the feedback form also. It's 1219. Sorry, it's a 4-digit code. I repeat, the code to the access to the feedback form is 1219. So complete the feedback form and you'll be able to download your record of participation instantly. So this new process was introduced to streamline your experience and ensure your participation is instantly recognized. So yeah, have a wonderful evening and please do submit your feedback. We will be more than happy to receive those. Thank you once again for joining.